I've helped more health practitioners turn their expertise into scalable coaching programs than anyone else in our space. I've been at this since 2005, helping health professionals build great businesses. And what I'm about to share with you has generated more than $217 million for our clients while freeing them from the brick and mortar grind or time-sucking one-on-one. So if you're a health professional who's wondering, how do I transition from one-on-one to a group-based program, and how do I build up my curriculum? This is for you. Uriel Kim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur, and this video is for you if you're looking to build out your expertise into a coaching curriculum, but you're not quite sure what that looks like. So I'm going to dive right in and show you what you need to know. The first thing I want to help you understand is that we want to get paid for what we know, not what we do. Okay? If you're a chiropractor, manual therapist, it doesn't matter what type of practitioner you are, most likely right now you're getting paid for what you're doing. And one of the first things that we help our clients with in our process is we want to be able to productize your knowledge or your service. And so what that means is that you can get paid and your clients can get helped even when you're not physically present with them. The broken sick care system that we currently operate in is very transactional. You get paid a small amount of money when someone swipes their credit card for one session or one appointment. And then that's it. Now listen, I've been a healthcare participant as a patient, and I've been a healthcare provider since I was 21. Okay, so I've been at this for a very long time, and I've seen both sides of the spectrum. Our mission at Healthpreneur is to move this transactional, archaic model, which is completely flawed, into more of a transformational one. And transformation starts with understanding that the doctor of the future is not you, it's the patient, it's your client. And therefore, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to productize your knowledge and know-how to create intellectual property, your IP. This is where your magic is. It's not yet having the same conversation a million times with clients. And I just want to make sure we're clear on a couple terminologies here. Patients and clients. I'm not talking about patients. Patients are people that get stuff done to them and they're not active participants in their healing journey. That's not what we're dealing with. We're talking to humans who have chosen to become clients. And that means there's a relationship that you've established with them where they're showing up for an extended period of time to create an outcome. Not an appointment, an outcome. You get paid for that outcome at a much higher rate than you would for an individual session. And most importantly, the client is the one who's responsible for the results, not you. All right, so what does this look like? So in our world, we call this, or our model, the 3 C's. Okay, it's really simple. At the base, we have curriculum. And this is what I'm going to show you a bit more about in this video. On top of that, so before I get to that, curriculum is important. So here's the thing. In order for you to have a curriculum, you need a single target market because you can't help 20 different conditions with one curriculum unless you, depending on the issue. Obviously, like how you heal anything is how you heal everything. I get that. But the reality is that if you have a single target market, your marketing becomes way more dialed. Your messaging is on point. You're a specialist. You're no longer a generalist. And when people come in onto the inside of working in your program, they're all following the same process, right? They're on the same train, on the same track, and going to the same destination. So what this creates for you as the practitioner is a tremendous amount of freedom because what it does is it creates leverage. So right now, as I'm shooting this video, I've got hundreds of clients who are watching other training videos I've created inside of our coaching programs. They might be at their breakfast table, they might be at their office, they might be going for a walk. And I have created leverage by creating curricula, training materials, videos, exercises, etc., that are moving people through a process that I've already predefined based on where they are and where they want to go. If you don't have this, then your clients can't take more ownership of their own journey. And what ends up happening is if we look at the current model looks like this. It's patient comes in to see you, they have an appointment, right? Things are a little bit good. Then they go back to wherever they were, then they come back in, they get a little bit better, they come back, and it just keeps going up and down like this. And eventually they get a little bit better, hopefully if they stay the course. But the problem here is that this is a very transactional model. And it's transactional because each one of these touch points are payments, they're appointments, they're sessions. And I understand there's certain governing bodies where you can't charge up front for an outcome. It's, buy this, buy the service, buy the appointment, which is archaic in the first place. But the problem here is that number one, the patient's not really committed to any kind of structured journey. It's like, well, when should I come in next? I don't know, whatever you want. So I need to see you once a week. Like that's typically been my experience working with physios, naturopaths, chiros, and some of my best friends are all of these practitioners. So I'm not poo-pooing them. I'm just poo-pooing the industry as it's taught us, which is completely archaic. It doesn't help people get better. The other thing too is if you're a manual therapist and I go to see you and I'll just share my experience having gone to physios, massage therapists, a lot of soft tissue because I played pro soccer and I'm very active, all this kind of stuff. So I worked with a lot of amazing therapists, manual therapists, but the reason I stopped going was because the benefits were very short-lived. And what's interesting but not surprising about the clients that we work with, many physical therapists or some of our best clients, chiropractors, is that it's no longer about coming in for these individual sessions. It's no longer about, I'm going to lay on the table and have stuff done to me. It's like, no. You, me, the client, and am now an active participant in this process. So for instance, I'll give you an example. This past summer, I had a calf strain, which I've never had in my life. And it was really frustrating. So I went to a physio, did a bunch of different massages, did some acupuncture, and all of it helped temporarily. And again, just like in this graph, it would after a couple of days, it just got back to where it was. And again, it would get better when I got the treatment, and then it would just go back to where it was. And I wasn't really seeing the headway that I wanted until I thought to myself, hey, Yuri, why don't you actually practice what you preach? Which is, why don't you, and again, I've always been very proactive anyways, but I said, listen, I can't expect a massage therapist or a physio to heal my calf. I need to heal my calf. And more specifically, my body needs to heal the calf. But what can I do? Because obviously I was a kinesiologist and a nutritionist. I have an extensive background in health and fitness and strength and conditioning in the body, so I understand it. So I thought to myself, all right, well, if I've done the massage and I've done the soft tissue and the deep tissue stuff and the physio and the acupuncture and it's providing temporary relief, what can I do on a more consistent basis to actually really fix this once and for all? And that's what we help our clients do by building out a curriculum. So in my case, I'll just show you what this looked like. So instead of this up and down stuff where I only get better when I see the practitioner, essentially what happens is it just goes up over time. And the difference here is that this is more of a transformational model for both you, the practitioner, and the client, because you're no longer, the thing here is that time has nothing to do with client results. So your time has nothing to do with their results. Over here, your time is 100% causational, if that's even a word, of their results. So if you don't work on the patient, they don't get better. And that's a fucked up model, okay? Here, we build curriculum so that your clients can take their own actions, just like I did, right? So if I was doing my own protocol, I was doing a lot of eccentric work, and I obviously built up to that. Two-legged eccentric work, single-legged eccentric work, then I got into some light plyometric work, obviously soft tissue, all that stuff. And I was doing that in a very consistent regimen, but I was doing it completely aside from working with a practitioner. Now, in the nature of a coaching program where I'm building out a curriculum, I would simply ask myself, if I'm helping individuals or active individuals like myself who have a lower leg injury that's preventing them from running, jumping, doing their favorite things, what would I have them do outside of them being with me that will move them closer to where they want to go? And this is where we start to really think of what are these milestones? What are these things? Training videos, skills, habits, exercises that we're helping our clients build and develop that they can take more ownership of the healing journey, okay? And that's why our clients, and again, if this is all I'm asking to be here is open-minded. I don't care if you believe me or not. There are thousands of your colleagues right now who are absolutely crushing it and helping their clients at a much greater level than they ever did in their brick and mortar. I'm not here to try to lie to you or anything. All I'm asking you is to be open-minded. And if you're not, you're the one who loses, not me, not anyone else. Maybe the patients you serve, obviously. I want you to understand that just because you don't understand how this works doesn't mean that it doesn't work yet for you, okay? So again, if we go back to what we're creating, it's a curriculum. It's a self-directed, a self-directed curriculum. It's hosted on some type of online platform like Kajabi or School, Thinkific. It doesn't matter. It's hosted online. And somebody who's a client logs in and they have a plan. It's like, okay, well, the first thing I do is this, and then I do this, and then this is what happens next. And it's literally like a checklist that they can go through on their own. So I want you to think about this. One of the questions I have our clients ask is, what would have to be included in a curriculum so that your client could get the results that they want if they never spoke with you? Now, just to be clear, we're not selling a course. This is for a higher priced, high value coaching program. But the base of it is a self-directed curriculum. Some people call it a course, online course. This is not the same. An online course, no one goes through. There's no accountability. They're cheap. 90% of people statistically don't even complete them. Therefore, they're a waste of time. But the architecture of the course is very similar to this type of curriculum. The major difference that I'm going to suggest here is that your curriculum should be based around two things. Where a lot of people go wrong is they over-educate. And I'm going to suggest that this is one of the worst things you can do when building out your curriculum. And the reason for that is because I've made this mistake many times. You're too smart for your own good, and it's not helping your clients. So nobody cares about the physiology of mitochondria, okay? That is not helpful for your clients. What your clients want to do and what they like, the only thing they want to know is just tell me what to do. Like, what do I do to feel more energetic, to lose the weight, to get rid of the muscle strain, whatever it is. They don't care about the physiology of the myofibrils and the muscle fibers and the actin, myosin. Like, who cares, right? None of that stuff matters. And I share this from personal experience of someone who is very knowledgeable with the body and loves teaching. I spent in my previous company, which was a health business that we served the mass population. We helped 500,000 people to better health, and it was awesome. But I spent 1,000 hours building out a program called Super Nutrition Academy. And I thought, you know what? Nutrition school changed my life. Let me build a nutrition school for the everyday person. And that's what it is. I spent 1,000 hours building out curriculum around nutrition and physiology and all this kind of stuff for the everyday individual. And after spending 1,000 hours building out all the content and we launched it, it was crickets. And then I was like, oh shit. And I realized that people do not want to be educated about stuff. They simply want to know what to do. And so the old saying, you may have heard of before, sell people what they want, give them what they need. Now, they don't need all the understanding of how the human body works. However, I'm going to give you a simple framework when you are teaching anything. And this goes for a presentation you give on stage or any of the training videos that are part of your curriculum. The first thing is why. Why is it important you're watching this video? Okay, so like if you notice, like I started off this video, I think I did, and if I didn't, I apologize for not even taking my own advice. But when you're sharing content, it's important to remind people why this is important. And one of the ways we can do this is simply by talking about the negatives and the positives. So here's why. Let's just use an example of. I'll just use the example of the calf strain. Okay. So I'm in a program that's helping lower body or lower limb injuries recover, and I'm going through the training on this. I don't need to know the physiology of all the muscles, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to understand the basic understanding of, let's just say why stretching a muscle strain is not a great idea, okay? So let's just say that's the video. And I'm like, hey, so we're going to get into this. The reason why this is important is that if you overstretch a muscle that's already strained, it's kind of like, taking an elastic band that has a little bit of a tear in it and stretching it, what's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to make things worse. So I can go through what's called the why stack. The negative, like if you don't understand this, here are the consequences. And if you do understand this, here are the benefits. The benefit of you understanding this is that no longer will you waste time overstretching or doing things that are going to hurt your calf or your Achilles. You'll actually know what to do properly so you move in the right direction. Okay, so I'm just using that as a simple example. But the first thing we want to start off with, typically in a content-related video, is a reminder of why what we're about to share is important for them to pay attention to. It doesn't matter, like even if your client has already paid you the money, you have to continue selling them, right? Every time you are sharing a piece of content, every single video in your curriculum needs to resell them on why they should watch what follows. The second piece is called what. here's what we're going to talk about. Okay. So here's why this is important. Here's what we're going to dive into in a second. And this could dive into, a little bit more of the specifics around what's going to happen. Okay. And then we move into how. So the how is obviously going to be a lot more prescriptive. Like, here's how we're going to do this. Here's how we're going to go about doing this. Here's how to do a calf raise properly, a squat. Here's how to prepare whatever you're preparing. And then the final piece is very action oriented. So it's now. So it's why, what, how, now. And so every piece of content you create in your curriculum needs to be action oriented. And this is why when you look at the whole idea of creating education inside of a curriculum, I think it's a very, very big issue. The number one reason why people will stop doing what they're doing is because it's hard. Obviously, they don't want it bad enough. But the other thing too is on the inside, it's like it's too much stuff. It's too overwhelming. There's too much stuff for them to consume. And that's why we always want to look at what is the absolute mission critical, essential stuff that has to be included. Anything else, just remove it. And this is something that I've done in our HBA program for the past 7 years, is I've probably updated the program. So literally every single piece of the curriculum has been fully reflushed and redone at least 4 times that I can remember. So the goal is to focus on action-oriented behaviors. And what I mean by that is, instead of information, I want you to focus on what is transformation? What is the essential that needs to be in place to move someone forward? So instead of worrying about, and I get where a lot of us come from here, is like, I want to give a lot of stuff, right? I want to give a lot of value. But I want you to think of one way to think about this. When I give way more content for free than I do to my paying clients. And the reason for that is I'm not trying to hold anything back, is when someone consumes your stuff on the free side, right? So on YouTube or anywhere else, they don't feel like they're obliged to get through everything. So there's just like this overwhelming amount of content that they can just pick and choose from. And it's like, holy shit, if this is like free, I can only imagine what's on the inside. It's got to be even better, right? People will pay you for what they've already experienced, not what they're expecting. On the inside though, if you overwhelm your clients with hundreds upon hundreds of hours of video, for instance, or pages upon pages upon pages of content, they will feel overwhelmed because they feel they have to go through everything in order to get value from working with you. And that creates a very big problem for them showing up and doing the work, for moving through the program, ultimately getting results and retaining them as a client, right? If you have 100 videos on YouTube, you don't need to have 100 videos in your coaching program. Like, it could be 100 videos on YouTube and people just kind of like choose what they want. But if those same 100 videos are expected to be watched by all of your clients, they will feel like they're missing out. They're not getting enough value because they're not able to keep up with the amount of stuff inside the program. So when it comes to your curriculum, I really want you to think about this. Less is more. It really, really is. And instead of focusing on information, there are 2 things that I really do believe you want to focus on. So if I do a little mini Venn diagram, which is obviously 2 circles, not 3 here, we look at skills and we look at habits. And when you create, or when you help an individual create that, this is how people create lasting change. Because no one improves their situation by watching a video. Like, you're not going to do anything to improve your life by watching this video. You won't. The only thing that's going to actually help is if you do something with this. Like, you start to instill a new habit in your daily routine, or you start to build a new skill. So those are the only 2 things I really believe that should be fundamental in your coaching program. So on a weekly basis, if you're building out your modules on, let's say, a weekly type of theme, you have to ask yourself, what's the one habit I want to have my client develop this week? And so if we look at it in a different fashion, you can think of this as skill stacking. So what would be skill number 1? So let's look at it. Let's just actually break this down. So let's look at an example of weight loss. So let's say that you could be a nutritionist, functional medicine doctor, doesn't matter. The goal is you're helping people lose 20 pounds, right? Let's just say that's the outcome. What's the first thing you would have someone do in the first week of working with you? One thing that it would be so easy for them to do, they could not fail. That would move them in the direction of eventually losing the weight. So let's look at walk 30 minutes per day. Okay, that's it. Again, like it can be whatever you want, but let's just keep it super simple. Walk 30 minutes every single day. Cool? So person goes into this curriculum, there's like an introduction video, here's what we're going to cover. And then like the second video is like, here's what we're going to focus on this week. We're just going to get momentum going. And all you're going to do is walk 30 minutes every day. Why is this important? If you don't do this, if you consequences, benefits, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it, which is essentially just go walk. It could be outdoors, it could be on a treadmill, it doesn't matter. And then how is essentially, here's the action, here's the commitment you're going to make to start putting this in place. So that would be happening the first week. And again, I'm just breaking this down by week, but it doesn't have to be a weekly setup, but just for the sake of simplicity, we're going to use that here. Okay, so now that this person has built that foundation, remember this skill, so now here's what happens, is this skill, they keep doing this for the duration of the program. They don't just stop it. They keep doing it. So let's say that the second one is 20 grams of protein in the morning. Okay, so first thing, so maybe it's a protein shake, it can be something super simple. And that's all they're going to do. That's the only new addition they're going to make in that second week. And again, they're going to do that forever. What we're doing here is we're starting to build micro habits, skill stacking. This is what creates change. Okay? Again, here's why it's important to have protein first thing in the morning. Consequences of not doing so, benefits of doing so. Keep it relatively simple. You don't need to go into all the blood sugar, metabolic stuff. You can keep it simple. Just to understand, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have 20 grams of protein first thing in the morning. It could happen in the form of 4 eggs, or if that seems a bit too much for you, you can have a protein shake. Most proteins, 1 scoop is about 20 grams of protein added in water. Boom, you're off to the races. And we're saying this, and we're like, honestly, it's like, don't even change anything else. Like if you're having a big bowl of cereal in the morning, probably there's better ways to start the day. But even the person is doing that, we're not even saying stop that. We're just saying add 20 grams of protein in. That's it. Okay. So that's going to now be doing its thing. Skill number 3. And again, the key with these skills, these are things that ideally are done on a daily basis, right? So we want to be thinking of like not work out twice a week where it's like, it's, somewhat consistent, somewhat not. I'd be thinking about how do we really get these micro habits built into like part of their DNA, their fabric. So let's look at skill number 3. Maybe it's sleep and wake same time every day. Okay. And again, that's going to happen forever. So we've built the habit of walking 30 minutes a day. We're doing 20 grams of protein first thing in the morning. And those are still happening, right? Those are just part of the process now. The third skill we stack on is we're going to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. So I want you in bed by 9:30 and you're just going to wake up naturally, maybe around 5:30 or 6. The key is that every single day, you're going to go to bed, wake up at the same time. Here's why this is important. From a circadian rhythm perspective, your body operates better if it's, whatever. You explain that, here's what it is, here's how we do it, and then boom. The next thing is like tonight, you're going to go to bed at 9:30, and then you're just going to wake up the next morning without an alarm clock if you want, and see what time you get up, and then can we maintain that consistency every single day? I swear to God, if you do this, like it sounds so friggin' simple, but here's the thing, is you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel and give people like this amazing, never before seen thing. People are paying you for accountability. And it doesn't even mean that you have to check in with them every second. The transformation starts at the transaction. The moment they decide to invest $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to work with you for the outcome, not per session, that's the moment they've decided to change. That's the moment they've decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but this is what we're going to do. And so you can have them do the basic, simplest things. And again, simple is powerful. Like masters simplify complexity. Amateurs complicate simplicity. So you don't need to you don't need to make this sound like it's like this crazy thing. And it's you're talking to a prospective client and they're like, yeah, like I know that stuff already. Well, that's great. What we're going to do is actually do it. Cool? Because if you know it and you don't do it, then you don't know it. And you're here because you're still 20 pounds overweight, so therefore you don't quite know it because you're not living it. So if all I did was help you do the very things you say you know you need to do but aren't doing, would that be worth it to you? Yes, it would, Dr. So-and-so, okay? And that's the key. When you're building out your curriculum, is we're focused on skills and habits. We're not focused on overwhelming people with information that's just going to make them feel like they're just caught on a tidal wave. So that is, in a nutshell, the starting point, the foundation of a curriculum. Now, we've been building curricula for thousands of clients. We have a whole process called the Curriculum Builder. It took us 7 years to design and develop this. And what's interesting is it's a series of questions that help prompt you to think about how you can build some of the stuff out. For instance, a really simple question as I gave earlier, right? What would have to be true? What would have to be included in your curriculum so the client got a result even if you never spoke with them? That's an example of a needle-moving question that we include in our curriculum builder. And so now with this curriculum builder, we've taken all of these years of experience and these questions and processes and frameworks, and we've infused it with AI. And so now what happens is our clients are able to build out their curriculum in about 90 minutes instead of years or several months. It's fucking crazy to me how many practitioners I talk with, they're like, yeah, I'm still working on my program. I'll have it done in 4 months. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? 4 months? Okay, so let me just play devil's advocate. I've got a client who'd be a perfect fit for you. Should I tell them to wait for 4 months because you're getting your program ready? No, you're already working with people one-on-one. What is one more client coming in to work with you one-on-one going to do? I mean, number one, it's going to bring in more cash. They will help you literally build the program because once they're in, you'll have a fire lit under your ass to finally get the stuff done. The biggest problem working with health professionals, and I share this because I am one, is this tendency to get everything perfect. You're too smart for your own good. And because of that, you're too worried about what other people are going to think of you. Who gives shit? You're good enough as it is. You've already been helping people for many years. You don't need a perfect program or curriculum. It doesn't matter. You'll build it as you build the bridge. You'll build the bridge as you walk across it. Do not wait for the curriculum or the program to be done before you start helping people. It is selfish. It is dumb. Don't be dumb. So the curriculum is kind of the first piece of the 3C framework. And then really quickly, just so you understand what the next two pieces are, is community. Because in a group-based program, people come in together. And community heals, isolation kills. If you still think that one-on-one is the best way to help your clients, again, I really, really encourage you to consider that there is a better way. And if you're like, no way, you're wrong, congratulations, you're totally right. All the best with that, okay? Community is very, very powerful. And I'll just leave it at that. We're not here to talk about community, we're here to talk about curriculum. But the final piece is the coaching. Notice the difference in the sizes here. Curriculum is the biggest. It's the foundation. Your coaching, your time, what you do with your clients, whether it's one-on-one or a group call or whatever, is the least amount of your time. So for instance, right now in our Health Business Accelerator coaching program, I do 3 coaching calls a week. We have 420 active clients. Can you imagine if I had that many one-on-one clients and I had to do one-on-ones with every one of them? I mean, if I hadn't lost my hair already, it would have been gone. One-on-one is 100% unscalable. And if it's not scalable, it's not sustainable. If you're watching this and you're like, yep, I'm burnt out. I can't keep doing this. I've hit a capacity ceiling where I can't make more money because I can't work more. Congratulations, you've hit the capacity ceiling. The only way to get around that is to charge a lot more or move from one-on-one to a leveraged model. And if you're not okay with doing so, then that's fine. Just understand that you have a cap and a ceiling you'll never get beyond. And if you don't know what you don't know, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means that you don't know how to do it, okay? I promise you, we have thousands of clients who are doctors, chiropractors, functional medicine practitioners, dietitians, trauma therapists, sex addiction, porn addiction therapists, like you name it, who have all moved from one-on-one to group. Their clients get significantly better results. The practitioner makes significantly more money and they work less. So if that's of interest to you, congratulations, you're in the right place. And again, if you want to learn more about how we help our clients, there's probably a link in the description below. You can learn more about our process. We have a masterclass or a training or something. You can just dig around and you're smart. You'll figure it out. So anyways, let's call it a day here. What I want to leave you with here is the big focus from today's training is really around the curriculum. And the key with the curriculum is moving away from this transactional, time for money type of thing into a transformational process, the results your clients have in your time are completely dissociated, okay? And as a result of that, we focus not on education, we focus on less is more, and we really focus on helping our clients build skills and habits. And as a result of that, they fundamentally be who they need to be to do what they need to do to have what it is that they want. And that's why coaching produces better results every single time. Now, just to put a bow on this, when I said I do 3 coaching calls a week in our HBA program, it doesn't mean that that's all our clients get. Now, in our case, we offer up to 8 coaching calls per day. How do we do that? Because with this type of system, I've been able to build a beautiful business with world-class experts who are now able to provide coaching calls throughout the week, every single day, in various aspects that help our clients with their businesses. But when I started off, right, it was like 1 coaching call a week. Way back in the day, it was 1 group Q&A call, and then it evolved and morphed from there. So I'm not saying you have to hire a bunch of experts and coaches on your team. You don't need to go in that direction yet, but just to let you know, kind of like that's what the future could look like. And it's a pretty amazing ecosystem to create when you are not as invaluable as you think you are. The thing that I've realized is I'm not as special as I think I am. If I completely removed myself from our coaching program, our clients would still get the same results. Seriously. But the only way that that's possible is that I've been able to extract what I know and what I do into a self-directed curriculum, a product, if you will, that's layered on top with an amazing community and exceptional coaching in a way that makes sense for us and for the clients. So if you found this video helpful, let me know what you found most useful in the comments below. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And we've got hundreds of other videos on the channel to help you build an amazing health business online. Keep rocking, keep changing lives, and I'll see you soon. If you're a therapist looking to grow your private practice, especially online, I'm going to share 9 hard truths you need to be aware of in this video. Over the past several years, helping thousands of therapists and practitioners, I'm going to share some lessons with you, some hard truths that will save you from years of frustration, burnout, and despair.